Discover the incredible moment a hungry girl asks a millionaire to wash dishes. What happens next? Mia's stomach growled like a wild beast as she peered through the window of Joe's diner. The neon sign flickered with an unsettling rhythm, just like her relentless dreams of a full, warm meal. Inside, plates piled high with food danced on tables, and the clatter of forks against plates could almost drown out the gnawing emptiness inside her. She squirmed, biting her lip, and imagined the taste of a greasy cheeseburger, the melted cheese oozing like warm sunshine on a cold day. Every moment spent watching those steaming plates was unbearable. As the door swung open, in walked David, an oasis of wealth in an otherwise drab landscape. Dressed like a movie star and effortlessly exuding confidence, he was an enigma. The way he held himself wrapped in luxury set him apart, like a diamond in a pile of gravel. Heads turned as he flashed that dazzling smile, his expensive watch glinting under the diner's harsh lights. To Mia, he was just another reminder of what she didn't have, but today, driven by hunger and an audacious spirit, she felt a flicker of courage spark deep within her. Taking a breath, she approached him, her heart racing. "Excuse me, sir," she murmured, her voice trembling. "Do you think I could wash dishes for some food?" The word slipped out so raw and vulnerable, laying her dignity bare. Silence fell like a weight in the air, thick and suffocating, and she felt the gazes of others bore down on her, a thousand judgments hiding behind their eyes. David turned, surprise flitting across his handsome features. Mia's heart pounded louder. He had the power, money and connections that could make her dreams come true, but here she stood, baring her soul in desperation. "Wash dishes?" he asked, his voice rich but laced with curiosity. There was a moment, a suspension of their worlds colliding, before he cracked a smile, one that could have melted glaciers. "Why not?" They began working side by side, his polished appearance stark against her worn-out sneakers. As they washed the greasy plates together, conversations flowed. Mia shared tales of her mother's struggles, her ambitions, her dreams fraught with hunger. David listened, and as he opened up about his life draped in luxury yet shadowed by unfulfilled expectations, something shifted. They found common ground, the pain of expectation and obligation gnawing at them both. But just as a fragile friendship began to blossom, the diner erupted into panic, smoke billowing from a nearby shelter. A fire! In an instant, Mia leapt into action, pumping adrenaline through her veins, a fierce determination illuminating her face. David followed her lead, their differences evaporating in the heat of urgency. "Come on!" Mia shouted, pulling him toward the chaos, her heart surging with bravery. Together, they battled the flames, rescuing those in need, and it was in that frantic moment that Mia discovered true power. The adrenaline mixed with purpose ignited a flame of compassion in David, the weight of privilege lifted for a precious few seconds. Caught in the rush, they forged an unbreakable bond, one built on respect and understanding. But as the dust of their heroics began to settle and reality crept back in, they were left with the looming question: could they bridge the vast gap that life had drawn between them? Would Mia's fierce resilience reshape what success meant in David's world? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the fire trucks roared into view and the last embers died down, the weight of unspoken words hung heavy. They had tasted heroism but now stood on the edge of two worlds, each masked in struggle, waiting for reconciliation. How could they find a way to understand each other fully, and, in this journey together, would they dare to bridge the abyss that drew them apart? Only time would tell. As the chaos of sirens faded, Mia took a breath, her heart still racing, adrenaline coursing through her veins. She could feel David's presence beside her, a comforting reminder that they had faced fire together, both literal and metaphorical. "Are you okay?" David asked, concern etched across his face. His usually poised demeanor crumbled as he scanned her for injuries. The man so used to controlling his world now seemed dwarfed by the intensity of the moment. I'm fine, she replied, hoping to cushion the worry in his blue eyes. More than fine, actually. A small smile flickered on her lips despite the exhaustion. She felt alive, vibrant in a way she hadn't before. They had done something good, something that mattered. As the crowd thinned and the fire department began to work, Mia glanced around the diner. People were hugging, crying, and sharing stories of the relief they felt after the fire. It was a community in recovery, and she wanted to be part of something bigger. With this newfound strength, she turned to David. David, this could be our moment to do something helpful, she said, her voice steady as the rush of heroism swelled inside her. We should go back in and see how we can assist. He hesitated, peering back at the diner, wary of what awaited them. I don't know, Mia. It's pretty chaotic in there. Do you really think it's safe? It's safe enough, she urged, her resolve solidifying. I mean, we just dealt with flames, how can we not help? Just think about those who lost their homes. We could organize a fundraiser or something. David blinked, her enthusiasm seemingly contagious. A fundraiser? He echoed, curiosity sparking in his gaze. That could actually work. My father runs a lot of charity events. Maybe I could talk to him. Exactly. Let us turn this tragedy into something positive. We could bring the community together, Mia encouraged, her heart pounding with hope. As they headed back toward the diner to check on the victims and volunteers, an idea flashed in Mia's mind. What if they could transform this experience into a platform? A way to address the disparity they both lived daily, her world of struggle and his world of privilege. The thought exhilarated her. They walked into the diner once again, the atmosphere thick with chaos, the smell of smoke still lingering, patrons' faces worried but filled with determination. David stood taller, no longer just the polished millionaire. He was David, her partner in goodness, an ally in this unexpected fight. As they gathered supplies and offered assistance, she could feel an invisible thread weaving between them, a shared purpose, a connection forged through fire and struggle. Each person they helped, each story they heard, solidified their mission more. David? Mia ventured as they cleaned up broken glass and soot, her eyes bright. What if we invite some local musicians to perform? I bet we could draw a crowd. Everyone loves a sense of community, and art can heal. His eyes lit up. That's brilliant. We can set up a donation booth. Let us spread the word on social media, we could reach a lot of people. Another rush of excitement coursed through her. They were dreaming big, taking risks together, crossing boundaries that had always separated them. But just as joy filled the room, a shadow flickered in David's eyes. Mia, he hesitated. What if this doesn't go as planned? What if I screw it up? The question hung in the air, a whisper of vulnerability. In that fleeting moment, Mia realized they were not simply navigating the aftermath of a fire but also the fire within themselves, their fears and aspirations colliding. Then we try again, she said softly, reaching for his hand. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to start. But just as they were ready to take that leap of faith, a familiar figure approached them from the crowd, a stern expression on his face, dark clouds threatening to rain on their hopeful plans. David, the figure called, urgency in his voice. We need to talk. Now. Mia glanced at David, worry suddenly dancing in her stomach. What could he possibly want? What storm was brewing on the horizon that could pull them apart? As tension tightened around them, they both knew they were standing at the precipice of change, but would they have the courage to face whatever came next? David turned slowly, his face transforming from a canvas of hope to one of wariness. Mia's grip tightened on his hand. She felt the change in his energy, a subtle shift that set her nerves on edge. The man approaching them was Mr. Thompson, David's father, and the weight of his presence hung thick in the air, a dark cloud obscuring their spark of inspiration. Mr. Thompson, David greeted, voice steady but tight, as if he were preparing for a battle. His father's expression was stern, eyes scanning the chaos around them before landing back on David. What's going on? We need to leave. now, his father replied, urgency slicing through the din of the diner. I just got a call from the office. There's a situation, a financial crisis. You can't afford to be here right now. Mia's heart sank. The excitement they had just ignited felt like a flickering candle snuffed out by a sudden gust of wind. David's face mirrored her dismay, his brows knitting together in conflict. But Dad, David began, determination bubbling in his voice. No. You don't understand, Mr. Thompson interjected firmly. There are serious implications for the company. Your personal involvement could make everything worse. You need to focus on your responsibilities. I can help here. People need us, David shot back, frustration bubbling over. Mia could see how torn he was, caught between duty and his desire to do something meaningful. The anticipation of their shared mission flickered off like a faulty bulb. Mia stepped forward, her voice steady, trying to soothe the tension. Mr. Thompson, we can organize something substantial. A fundraiser, we could bring the community together. This isn't just about profits, it's about lives. People have lost so much. She felt her heart race, praying that her words might break through the wall of urgency surrounding the Thompsons. Mr. Thompson's gaze shifted to her, measuring, assessing. And you think a few musicians and a donation booth will fix that? This isn't just about goodwill, young lady. This is a business. Mia could feel the heat rising in her chest. It's not only about business, it's about making a positive impact. If not now, when? David looked from his father to Mia, his internal battle evident. The tension weighed on them all, and Mia could sense David's desire to stand firm against his father's notion of duty, but the familial pull was strong. Listen, David said finally, his voice low but firm. I appreciate the urgency, but this is my community too. I want to stand by and let this moment slip. The people here matter. They need more than just charity from a distance. They need to know we care. Mr. Thompson's frown deepened, and for a moment, it felt like the room was holding its breath. Then he seemed to relent, if only slightly. You have 20 minutes. Then we're leaving. Mia inhaled sharply, the edge of hope dangling. That's all we need, she said, her adrenaline pumping. We can rally people fast. With a nod, David turned toward the crowd. Okay, let us get moving. We need volunteers, musicians, anyone who can help. We need to spread the word tonight. Let us do this. As he began to organize the crowd, Mia felt a rush of gratitude for David's resilience. She joined him, heart pounding, as people began to respond, voices rising in excitement and determination. In that chaos, they had kindled something not easily extinguished, but the looming reality remained: what would happen next? Could they really pull it off in 20 minutes? And what of David's father, whose dark presence hung over them like a storm cloud? Mia felt her pulse quickening as she threw herself into the crowd, a faint whisper of doubt curling in the corners of her mind. Just as optimism took root, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out to a message that sent ice through her veins. Don't forget who you're really dealing with. I'm watching. It wasn't just the fire they had to contend with, but shadows that threatened to engulf them. Would they emerge victorious, or were they racing towards something darker? Mia felt her heart race as she stared at the chilling message on her phone. The words twisted in her stomach, threatening to spoil the fragile excitement that had begun to gather among the crowd. She glanced at David, who was passionately speaking to a small group of local musicians. His energy was infectious, but she couldn't shake the sense of dread creeping into her thoughts. Are you okay? David's voice broke through as he turned back to her, eyes filled with concern. Mia forced a smile, trying to shield her worries from him. Yeah, just a little overwhelmed. But we can do this. Right. Okay, focus. David clapped his hands to rally the small crowd. We need to spread the word fast. People began to scatter, buzzing with newfound purpose. As they mobilized, Mia felt a flicker of hope. Still, that dark message loomed in her mind, a cold reminder that they weren't just battling indifference. There were unseen enemies circling like vultures. Volunteers started organizing, shouting out plans excitedly. Mia joined a group assembling flyers, and they began writing hastily crafted messages to draw people in. Live music. Food. Community support. But as the minutes ticked away, Mia felt a growing sense of urgency. 20 minutes would disappear faster than they realized. The words on her phone replayed in her head, gnawing at her focus. She began to wonder if anyone in the crowd felt it too, the looming threat that could extinguish their spark before it even lit. Hey, David's voice pulled her from her thoughts again. Can you take some of these flyers? I just saw Kayla, and she's got a crowd ready to hear us. Mia nodded, clutching the stack of flyers like a lifeline, the homemade paper feeling rough against her palm. As she dashed toward the exit, she passed neighbors and friends, people whose faces were filled with hope. They needed this, and she couldn't let her worries overshadow their moment of empowerment. She reached outside, where the night air made the hairs on her arms stand up. The faint sounds of laughter and chatter drifted in from the streets, the signs of life continuing despite the shadows just out of sight. Hey, everyone! Mia called out, catching the attention of several clustered groups. We're organizing a fundraiser tonight. We need your help. Some nodded enthusiastically, while others looked confused. The buzz of conversation began to fade as Mia shared their heartfelt message, words spilling out in earnest. She spoke from her heart, drawing on everything she felt for the community that had shaped her. Let us show everyone that we care. She urged. Each of us can make a difference. Let us join hands and make this night unforgettable. While she stood there, fueled by passion, the doubts in her mind wrestled ferociously with her optimism. What if that message wasn't just some random threat? What if the shadows meant something real, something dangerous? Just then, the diner door swung open again, and David bounded out to join her. He looked invigorated, his countenance lighting up the twilight. We've got a solid plan forming. A few acts are on board, and the community center is going to donate food. Mia felt a rush of warmth seeing his enthusiasm, but it was quickly overshadowed by the ominous weight of her unease. The buzzing hope around her felt fragile, and she didn't want to be the one to shatter it. David. I got a text, she said quietly, glancing back at the message on her phone, her heart pounding against her ribs. What do you mean? His brow furrowed, concern creeping into his voice. Before she could respond, the night suddenly darkened as a car pulled up beside them. The headlights pierced through the gloom, and an all-too-familiar figure stepped out, bringing the tension of the moment crashing back. Just make sure you know who you're dealing with. Mia's heart sank as she recognized him. Would they truly be able to rise above the doubts, or had they just invited trouble into their rallying cry? With her insides twisting, she felt the fragile line between hope and fear stretch tight. What would happen next? Could they stand firm against both their fears and the encroaching darkness? She could only hold on to David's hand as they faced the uncertainty ahead. The tension in the air thickened as the man stepped forward, an unsettling grin plastered on his face. Gary, a local developer known for his ruthless tactics, was not someone anyone wanted to cross. He leaned against the sleek car, arms folded, exuding a confident menace. The flickering lights highlighted the sharp lines of his face, and Mia felt a shiver creep up her spine. Nice little gathering you've got here, he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. What's it for? Another community project that'll go nowhere? Mia clenched the flyers in her hand, anger and fear battling for dominance. We're raising funds and awareness for our local music scene, she shot back, forcing herself to meet his gaze. We want to bring the community together. That's cute. But don't you think it's a bit naive? You really think a few bands and some food will change anything? He taunted, stepping closer. The scent of expensive cologne mixed with the chill of the night air, making her skin crawl. David stepped protectively in front of Mia. We're not afraid of you, Gary. This community stands united. Oh, united? Is that what you call it? Because I see nothing but people chasing daydreams. Gary's laugh echoed through the night, cold and mocking. Mia felt a surge of determination. Maybe those daydreams are what will save us. We won't back down just because you think you can intimidate us. Her voice wavered briefly, but she pressed on, fueled by the passion of the community behind her. Gary's expression faltered for a flash of a second, then transformed into a calculating smirk. Well, let us put it to the test, shall we? Let us make this night a little more interesting. He took out his phone and tapped a few buttons. How about I make a donation? Let us say, $5,000? Mia's heart raced. Really? It was hard to believe. This felt like a trap. A generous offer wrapped in a dark scheme. He leaned in, eyes narrowing. But there's a catch. You'll need to do something for me in return. Just a small favor to ensure everyone knows who the real power in this town is. Forget it. David interjected, his voice firm. We don't want your dirty money. Apologies are for the weak, Gary shot back, his voice low and dangerous. Besides, think of how this funding could help the cause, or how the absence of support might crush your little dreams. Mia's stomach turned at the realization of what he was implying. Her thoughts raced. Was accepting his money worth compromising their dignity? The community looked to her now, uncertainty written across their faces. She felt the weight of their hopes resting heavily on her shoulders. Let us make a deal. I'll let you think it over, Gary continued, unfazed by their reluctance. You have until the end of the night to decide. Just remember, sometimes power comes with a price. And with that, he turned, walking back to his car, a victor leaving the battlefield. The tension lingered like smoke in the air, leaving Mia feeling hollow. Did he really just offer us a bribe? David asked, disbelief etched in his features. I think so. Mia's heart thudded painfully. But we can't let him win. This night is too important, and we need to fight back. They exchanged worried glances, the burden of decision pressing on them. Would they stand their ground against not only the threats but also the allure of easy money? As the night deepened, Mia realized they weren't just fighting for music but for the very soul of their community, and just when she thought they'd regain their footing, another wave of uncertainty washed over her. How were they going to rally the crowd now? And worse, what if this was only the beginning? Before anyone could make a decision, a loud crash echoed from down the street, sending everyone jumping. Mia's heart raced as she turned towards the source of the noise. There was no mistaking it, the threat was escalating. What would they face next? Would their determination hold strong, or were they caught in a web they couldn't escape? By the time Mia reached the corner where the crash had come from, a small crowd had already gathered. Shadows of people with worried expressions flickered under the streetlights. The distant sound of shattered glass crunched beneath their feet, and Mia's stomach twisted. Whatever was happening, it felt like the stakes were rising faster than she could comprehend. What was that? David asked, scanning the area. The tension was palpable, a line of electricity charging through the gathered onlookers. Mia squinted into the night, her mind racing with possibilities. I don't know, but we should find out. It can't be good. Together, they pushed through the crowd, making their way to the source of the noise. As they arrived, the sight before them was chaos. A delivery truck lay tilted at an odd angle, its rear doors flung open like a gaping mouth. Boxes toppled out, bursting open to reveal their contents, instruments, amplifiers, and fragile audio equipment. Oh no. Mia's heart dropped. This was the donation they had been relying on for the fundraiser. She could hear her community murmuring, doubt creeping into their faces. Is that? David started, eyes wide. Yes. That's our gear. Mia exclaimed, her voice rising. We need to help. There's so much here. They rushed into the fray, lifting boxes, and collecting the scattered materials. Mia focused harder than ever, her hands working fast. The fear that initially gripped her was giving way to a fierce determination. They couldn't let this be the end. A few familiar faces joined them, friends from the community stepping in to assist. The mood, once heavy with despair, began to shift as they worked together, their movements synchronized with urgency and hope. Come on, everyone. This could be our chance. Mia shouted, her voice ringing out. If we lift this together, we can still make our event happen. Slowly, the expressions of doubt began to shift from worry to resolve. People ran to help, carrying broken instruments and wiring bits, scrambling with whatever they could salvage. As they worked, Mia glanced up at the faces around her. They were looking at her, trusting her. In that moment, she felt the profundity of their shared struggle. They weren't just fighting for music anymore, they were fighting for each other. The pieces of their dreams scattered before them could be restored, but not without determination and unity. Then, as if the universe were one step ahead, she caught sight of a flicker in the distance. A familiar figure was approaching Gary, with a few of his cronies, swaggering into the scene with an unsettling confidence. The moment felt suspended in air, and Mia's heart thudded uncomfortably. "Need a hand?" he called with mock sincerity. "Looks like a little accident, doesn't it?" David clenched his fists, ready for a fight. "We don't need your help, Gary." "Oh, I think you do," Gary grinned, taking a step closer. "I could always help, if you think it's worth your while. I'm offering support here. You wouldn't want your community to see you fail now, would you?" Mia felt the old tension creep back into her chest. This was the crossroads. They could either defy him or risk losing everything they had worked for. The crowd looked back and forth between her and Gary, waiting for direction. As she stood there, Mia realized that this was more than just a choice about money, it was about integrity, about the lengths they would go to preserve their spirit. The room felt stifled with expectation, each heartbeat echoing her indecision. "Enough!" she finally shouted, her voice ringing clear with defiance. "We won't be swayed. This community stands on our feet, not your dirty money or false promises." A moment of silence washed over them, lingering like anticipation in the air. Then came the collective resolution of the crowd behind her, pledging their support. But before Mia could savor the moment, another crash erupted nearby, forcing everyone's attention. "What now?" She took a deep breath, fighting the knot in her stomach. "Keep working," Mia commanded, her voice steady. "We will not give in." And as they scrambled to gather what was left, she couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was coming next could change everything. Would they withstand the pressure, or would they crumble beneath Gary's ambitions? The night was still young, and she suspected their battle was far from over. What new threat loomed on the horizon that could shatter their resolve once and for all? Mia's heart raced as the sound of the latest crash faded into a haunting silence. A sense of unease rolled through the crowd, and she could see the same concern reflected back in the wide eyes of those around her. The collective tension felt like a shaking foundation beneath their feet. "Everyone, stay focused. We have to get this gear together," she shouted over the whispers, pushing any fear aside. But inside, her mind was spinning. What could have caused that crash? Just as she took a step toward the next pile of boxes, a figure emerged from the shadows. Her breath caught as she recognized a familiar shape, a girl, small and wiry, with wild curls that framed her face. It was Sophie, a talented violinist from their school, whose presence usually ignited sparks of excitement. But tonight, it seemed as though she was carrying a weight heavier than her small frame. "Mia." Sophie's voice broke through the silence, thick with urgency. I saw someone. They're messing with the stage equipment down at the park." "What do you mean? Who?" Mia felt her heart skip. It was one thing to deal with Gary's arrogance, but now there was something even darker lurking around. "I don't know," Sophie's voice trembled. "I didn't get a good look, but they were wearing a hood and they looked suspicious." I thought before she could finish, another loud bang echoed nearby, followed by an abrupt flicker of the streetlights. Panic spread like wildfire through the crowd. "Everyone, stay close," David shouted, instinctively moving to protect Mia. This could be another trap. Mia felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. The community was rallying, but with each passing moment, the stakes were getting higher. Where was the help they desperately needed? A flash of movement off to the side caught her eye. She turned just in time to see Gary nudging his friends, a wicked smile on his face. "Looks like your little fairy tale is getting a little messy," he sneered. The arrogance in his voice was like a slap to her. "No one else walking away from this, Gary," Mia snapped, spinning to face him. "You think you can scare us away from what we've built? You're wrong." His laughter rang out, cutting through the mounting tension. "Oh, I mean, it's amusing. Stick around. You might even get some more entertainment." Mia turned back toward the others, and the crowd's chatter grew louder, shifting from fear to whispers of strategy. They clung to their hope, but uncertainty was a heavy cloud hovering above. "Gather whatever you can save. We can't let them take this away from us," Mia urged, determination weaving into her words. "We're stronger together." The crowd moved with renewed energy, a chorus of voices rallying as they scavenged for what little remained. But Mia couldn't shake the gnawing feeling that shadows still lurked and they might be closer than she thought. Suddenly, David's voice broke through her frantic thoughts. "Mia! Over there!" He pointed toward the edge of the chaotic scene. There, partially hidden in the darkness, was a figure hunched over with a suspicious silhouette. Heart pounding, Mia's instincts kicked in. "Stay here," she ordered. As she stalked closer, she felt each step rivet her resolve. Was this the person Sophie had seen? What were they planning? With each moment that ticked by, everything felt interconnected: the crash, Gary's dark intentions, and the shady figure watching from the sidelines. They were all tied into a greater plot that could unravel everything Mia held dear. What secrets were hidden within the shadows? And were they about to become the very thing that threatened to tear apart their community? Excitement mixed with dread, propelling her forward into the unknown. Mia's heart raced as she stepped closer to the shadowy figure, her breath hitching in her throat. Each stride felt like a leap into the dark, her instincts screaming at her to be careful. The figure was silhouetted against the flickering light, twisting and turning, as if they could sense her approach. "Mia, wait!" David called out, his voice barely cutting through the noise of the crowd surrounding them, but she couldn't stop now. Not with everything at stake. "I have to see who it is." She shot back, determination fueling her every move. As she crept forward, she began to make out more details. The figure was definitely a person, hunched over something, and a sick sense of dread curled up in her stomach. Weren't they supposed to be working together to protect what they had built? "Mia!" David's alarmed voice cut through her thoughts like a knife. "Don't get too close." With a shake of her head, she pushed through her fear. "Stay back, just in case," she whispered over her shoulder, gripping the edge of a nearby crate as her heart thudded louder than ever. Another bang echoed through the night, sending chills down her spine. As the figure suddenly turned to face her, she froze. The streetlight illuminated just enough of their face for her to see wide eyes filled with panic. It was a young boy, no older than 11, his dirty clothes hanging loose on his frail frame. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice softening. I was just trying to find something to help fix it," he stammered, glancing nervously toward the stage equipment. "They're going to ruin it all." Mia's heart broke for him. "Who? Gary?" He nodded. "He said he'd make sure everything crashed, that no one could have fun anymore. But I didn't believe him. I just wanted to help." The crowd's commotion faded into the background as Mia's mind raced. This boy was just a kid, swept up in something beyond his control. "Why didn't you go for help?" she asked, shifting her focus to keep him at ease. "I didn't know if you'd believe me," he whispered, eyes darting nervously around. A flash of anger surged through her. Gary's cruelty had created fear even in the hearts of the innocents. "You did the right thing by trying to help. Now we need to stand together. Can you show me where you saw them messing with the equipment?" The boy nodded, glancing back at David, who still hovered at the edge of the crowd, worry etched on his face. "I can, but it's dangerous." The dark guy, he swallowed hard, he won't stop until everything is ruined. "We've made it this far. We must stick together. You're stronger than you think, she reassured him, reaching out to take his hand. Their eyes locked, and she saw a flicker of hope reflected in his gaze. Suddenly, another crash erupted from the direction of the stage. An unsettling wave of urgency pushed Mia forward. Let us go. We can't let them destroy everything. David's alarmed expression intensified as they edged toward the chaos. Tension rippled through Mia as her instincts kicked in again, every nerve in her body wary of what lay ahead. They rounded a corner, and suddenly, Mia stood before the stage. It was a mess of tangled wires, fallen lights, and chaos, but she could also see Gary's smug face hovering nearby, barking orders to a group of startled teens. Just then, she caught sight of movement in the shadows behind the stage. The figure in the hood was back, eyes glinting with malice. Mia! David shouted, urgency lacing his tone. We have to do something. It dawned on her then, the fight was not just for their event, but for the spirit of their community. Their unity would be the most powerful weapon against the darkness lurking within. What if we can turn this around? She whispered to David, a plan beginning to form in her mind. But before they could strategize, the hooded figure stepped out of the shadows, and Mia's heart plummeted. Looking for something? The voice was low, dripping with mockery, just as she feared. Mia took a deep breath. Would they stand together, or would they be pulled down into despair? More than just their fairy tale was at risk. How much would it take for them to believe they could win against this darkness? Mia's mind reeled as she faced the hooded figure, their eyes reflecting a twisted version of mockery. A part of her wanted to retreat, to let fear dictate her choices. But she couldn't let that happen, not now, not when so many depended on her. Who are you? She fired back, her voice steadier than she felt. David stepped closer, the tension radiating off him like heat from a fire. Someone who knows how to make things fail, the figure replied, their voice a low growl that sent a shiver down Mia's spine. You think you can stop me? Look around. This place is already crumbling. Mia glanced at the stage, her stomach twisting at the sight of the chaos. She couldn't let despair take root. You're wrong. We're not going to let that happen. The boy beside her nodded, a small gesture of solidarity that bolstered her resolve. Yeah. We can fix this. He chimed in, his voice gaining strength. The hooded figure chuckled, a sound devoid of warmth. You think children can save a show? You're all just dreamers, and dreamers don't win. Mia's heart pounded, but she could feel inspiration rising from deep within her. She stepped forward, putting herself between the figure and the boy. You're underestimating us. It's not just about the show. It's about community, friendship, and believing we can fight back together. The figure hesitated, their posture shifting slightly, eyes narrowing as they assessed her. What do you know about real struggle? You hide behind your happy little events, thinking everyone will come together for a moment of fun. Maybe you're right, Mia admitted, her voice softer now, reaching for some connection. But we've built something worth fighting for. People care here. Maybe you should try to see that. For a moment, the air was thick with silence. The hooded figure seemed caught off guard. Mia seized the chance. You felt lost before, haven't you? You don't have to keep hurting people. You can choose to be part of something good. For the first time, she saw a flicker of uncertainty in the figure's stance. It was brief, but it was there, a crack in the facade. David's voice broke through, steely and resolute. What do you want? Why destroy this? Because, the figure began, the weight of their voice heavy, I want to show them how fragile it all really is. They can't always be happy, that's just a lie. I'm the truth. No, Mia countered, rising to the challenge. You're not the truth. You're just fear wrapped in darkness. Together, we can overcome that fear. Suddenly, the boy squeezed Mia's hand. We believe in each other. You can believe in us too. The figure looked at the trio, caught between two worlds, the one where darkness ruled and the one where optimism thrived. Mia could almost see the battle inside, the internal conflict of someone who had been lost for too long. Stop this, Mia urged, her heart racing. Join us instead. Your optimism is naive, the figure hissed, but there was a hint of uncertainty in their voice. Maybe, Mia whispered, but it's what makes us stronger. It's what can save everything. Not just tonight but every day we choose to care for each other. The figure hesitated, then stepped back slightly, eyes darting as though they might flee from the encroaching light of hope. In that moment, the crowd shifted around them, sensing the tension, the dread, and the potential for real change. A shout erupted from the audience, the murmur of support growing louder, people calling for unity, their voices weaving together a strong chorus of determination. Stay. The boy pleaded, his voice rising above the chaos. You don't have to be alone. Mia held her breath. Would this be the moment she could turn the darkness? But then, the figure laughed an unsettling sound. You think a few words can change anything? Watch this. They waved a hand towards the equipment, the energy abruptly shifting. Instinctively, Mia grasped the boy's hand tighter. She felt David move beside her, the three of them forming a tiny shield against the shadows that threatened to envelop them. And in that heartbeat, as the figure summoned the forces of chaos, Mia's mind raced to find a way to fight back. Could their united front be enough to withstand this sudden explosion of disruption? Would they be able to save their gathering even if just for one night? With the boy's spirit combined with her own, Mia felt a rush of courage take over. Together, we're stronger, she declared firmly, but the figure's shift was only starting. What did they have planned next? Would this darkness swallow them whole, or would light pierce through? Mia held her breath. The real battle was just beginning. In the midst of chaos, Mia felt a surge of determination. She glanced at David and the boy by her side, their eyes filled with trust and courage. Whatever happens, we stand together, she shouted, her heart racing. She was right, they were a family forged in hope, stitched together by shared struggles. The figure hesitated, uncertainty flickering in their darkened gaze. You don't know what you're up against, they sneered, their voice low and menacing. You think friendship can change the reality of life? Yes. It can. Mia stepped forward, pressing onward despite the turmoil swirling around them. It's what gives us strength to fight back. This community thrives on connection and love, not fear. The audience resonated with her words, some murmuring while others shouted encouragement. It was like a wave of solidarity moving through them. The figure faltered, eyes narrowing, but Mia pressed on. You're not alone. We've all felt lost, and we want to support each other. You don't have to let darkness ruin this. She reached out, her hand extended as though a lifeboat was being offered in the turbulence of waves. What do you know? You're just playing house in your little fairy tale. The figure spat, anger flaring. But even as they clung to their bravado, Mia noticed that their fists started to clench and unclench, a battle of emotions unfolding within them. I know that we can create something beautiful from pain, Mia replied softly. We did it, and this night can still make a difference. The crowd behind her swelled with a chorus of affirmations, voices intertwining in support. People were standing up, emboldened by her desperate plea. Then, from deep within the shadowed figure, there came a flicker of hesitation, perhaps a glimpse of the humanity that had been drowned in bitterness. Mia could feel the vibrancy of hope electrifying the air around her. The energy was palpable. Before the figure could respond, Gary re-emerged, his irritation palpable. Enough with this nonsense, he shouted, stepping into the fray with an arrogance that fueled the tension. This place is a joke. You think you matter? Mia turned, instantly cutting him off. Alex, the boy, shouted defiantly in solidarity, we matter. Our stories matter. The crowd rallied around them, a wave of voices lifting into the night. Leave us alone, David yelled back, eyes fierce with determination. The dynamic shifted, the shadows began to shimmer in a way that showed they could be dispelled. In a moment of vulnerability, the hooded figure glanced back at Gary, a clear conflict in their stance. Why are you doing this? Mia pressed, her voice steady yet vulnerable. Hiding in darkness won't heal your hurt. Choose to stand with us instead. With a flicker of confusion crossing their face, they started stepping back from Gary. The weight of his aggression began to pall as he realized the tide was turning. "You're all fools," Gary scoffed, but even he could sense the energy faltering. "Maybe we are," Mia acknowledged, a blend of fear and determination coursing through her. "But it's better than what you're offering. You don't understand how deeply we want to help one another." Suddenly, the hooded figure hesitated, the shadows around them beginning to unravel. "What if you're right?" they asked, voice shaking. "What if I don't have to play the villain anymore?" "That choice is yours," Mia said softly, her heart racing. "Join us. Help us turn the darkness into light." In a moment that felt suspended in time, the figure lowered their hood, revealing a face wrought with struggle, hurt, and a longing for acceptance. "I just wanted to make them pay to show them their fragility." There was a crack in their facade of anger. Mia stepped closer, emboldened. "You don't have to. We can create something beautiful together, we can rise above it all." Tension hung thick in the air, until finally, the figure nodded slowly, the darkness around them thinning. In that moment, flickers of hope pierced the gloom. "Maybe," they whispered. "Maybe I've been wrong." A cheer erupted from the community, a sound blending relief and joy, as they began to drift toward unity and compassion. "Let us finish what we started," Mia shouted, her voice ringing clear as clarity swept through them like a fresh breeze. The hooded figure met her gaze, a glint of resolution spreading across their face. A newfound sense of camaraderie sprang forth between them, united now in both the struggle and freedom from lifting the burden of the dark. As the carnival of sounds and voices erupted into celebration, Mia turned to David with tears of joy in her eyes. "We're really doing this." He took a step closer, pride washing over him. "Yes, we are, together. And there's nothing that can stop us now." In that moment, they realized they had not only transformed a night but had ignited a spark in their community that could never be extinguished. Together, they would face whatever came next. Together, they were unstoppable. Now it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories coming your way. Don't wait not even one more second to share this transformative journey with at least 5 friends who need to feel the light of hope. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. This is the moment to show your support for our growing community.